In this video, I'll show you how to hollow a solid made clay sculpture of a human form. You will want a wire cutter or similar. Consider carefully which facial features you don't want to mess with. I'm doing this when it's pretty much done, but there's quite a bit more smoothing to do. I'm slicing carefully through the solid form, avoiding carefully done facial features. This is done when the piece is firm, leather hard. You do not want to do this when it's wet and will not hold its form. I can use a variety of tools now to hollow the form. I want the thickness to remain consistent throughout everywhere that I hollow, leaving about 1 finger worth of thickness pretty much everywhere. Once I have all of my parts hollowed, I then want to very thoroughly slip and score the connection points on both sides. I find it's best to slip and score everything and then begin the process of actually putting it together rather than trying to hold one part in place while I slip and score another. Once everything's placed back together, the blending process begins. I'm here using a rib tool to score everywhere that my connections were just made. You need to put in a lot of blending, a lot of scoring, a lot of motion, and then potentially, in some cases, adding a little bit of clay to blend together where it was apart previously so that those lines do not crack or come back out. So I'm using very wet clay here on my slipped and scored areas to just really blend together the places where I cut it apart. And then I'm using a rib tool to compress. This is really important. Then I'm coming in with a sponge and doing a lot of smoothing. And the rest of this, and I think I spent at least 2 hours total on this stage, which is just letting it dry a little bit, compressing it with a rib tool, sponging a little bit, letting it dry, checking for the texture of the surface and making sure it's what I want, and then going back in and smoothing more and smoothing more and smoothing more. You can spend 5 hours on smoothing and still feel that there may be more to do. When you ultimately do finish your smoothing, You want to make sure that you don't dry a sculpture like this quickly, but rather bag it overnight, at least for one overnight, and then let it come to leather hard again.